DreamHack Open is brought to you by Corsair, Monster Energy, Esport Management, Windows 10, Omen by HP, and GGBet.
Ahoy there, and welcome to the Ahoy Arena here in Rotterdam, Netherlands. We're in a beautiful city, but we're inside, and it's even more beautiful because we are here to watch the fabulous game that is Counter-Strike Global Offensive. 8 rising star teams of the scene are here to compete for the lion's share of a $100,000 prize pool. And before the break, we saw top dogs Avangard beat Besiktas and see themselves through to the Group A winners best of 1, which we'll be seeing at the end of the day. But now we need to talk about Group B. And my name is Frankie Ward, and my analysts are Potter and Blair. So let's talk about Group B, because it's slightly easier than Group A, shall we say? It's a bit more even across the board, Potter.
I think so. And I mean, coming into Group B, we have 2 teams, one with a new org, 2 teams coming in with either their coaches replacing one of those players. And so it's certainly a quote-unquote easier group. But this lineup, this first match, ForZe versus Asterion, I think it's going to have all the factors that we like, the aggression, the team protocols, the cohesion. It's certainly going to be filled with that.
Yeah, and if you look at Asterion being the other lowest seeded team in this tournament, I think this is a group where they might just have that little bit of an outside chance of making it out. Because if you look at Crazy, yes, you know, they played in the majors and everything, but they have lost 2 of their star players. Nexus not there, Hunter's not there. Have Coach Emmy playing in the team right now as the in-game leader. We still don't know how well he can really hold his own. And then you have Havu, who haven't really impressed me with their performances. They really haven't played many I don't think they've played any LANs in this particular lineup, right? So most of their results are based off against, you know, kind of the tier 3, bottom of tier 2 teams. So for Asterion, I think they might just have a tiny little chance.
I think so too, but I believe Havu, you're right. Not with this lineup, they played in a LAN, but earlier on in the year, they did play in a Finnish LAN and faced off versus ENCE in a grand final. It wasn't very close, but they did have one good map. Since then, I believe they've had 2 player changes, and I think they actually have their coach who's also in their starting lineup now as well.
So basically, they're not necessarily the second coming of ENCE.
No.
Well, we will be talking about Havu later on in the day because they're going to be playing Crazy in our second opening game from Group B. But right now, we need to focus on the first because, as you've mentioned, we have got ForZe versus Asterion. And to be honest, I love a bit of ForZe, especially as they've got a man known as XE Power, and we talk a lot about Jame and his impact. But XE Power is someone who I think posts something like an insane 75 to 80% success rate in his opening duels. This man is insane, Blair.
He is insane, and I really, really like watching him play. And I think he's cut from a very different cloth from what Jame is, right? If you look at Jame, it's very fundamentally sound opping. He plays his role perfectly. It's like the textbook definition of how to op, you know, in competitive CSGO. And then you have XE Power, who's just insane. He just goes and he's so exciting to watch. But what's crazy for me is how consistent he can be in getting these opening duels and winning duels against some very, very good players out there, despite having such an explosive playstyle, so to speak.
Explosive playstyle indeed. I mean, I think they surprised all of us at Blast Pro Series Moscow with their performance there, and it is explosive, but it's kind of, he has to follow up, right, when he's got player teammates in FaceCrack and Flit who are just as aggressive, if not more aggressive than he is. I mean, FaceCrack with that MAC-10 just running around, almost acing teams throughout their performance. So that kind of aggression, XE Power really follows up well with that.
I think we're going to be seeing a very different game here compared to game 1, where we felt like Avangard gave a lot of respect to Besiktas. They didn't try anything crazy. They're just playing their game plan, and unfortunately for Besiktas, they gave them too much space to work with. This game, Asterion are going to be in for a very rough time because ForZe, and if you look at some of the other CIS teams, teams like we have playing in this tournament, they're not going to give any respect whatsoever. It's going to be full-on SMGs, rifles, just running in, pushing through smokes, flashbangs, whatnot. It's going to be rough.
It is going to be rough. I mean, the second round SG buy, AK buy, that's what we're so used to seeing right now. That is the meta, but I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see more like 2 MAC 10s or 3 MAC 10s in that second round buy, because ForZe, they love to get in your face. Their priority is that spacing. It's creating those openings, and so MAC 10s is certainly going to be what we're seeing in this match.
Well, listen, before we came back on air, when we were in the break, we were discussing what we were thinking about the map veto. I was saying Mirage, so slightly disappointed right now because we're going to Inferno, but then I'm not disappointed because I think we're going to see a really, really cool match.
Yeah, Inferno is a map where I think ForZe is going to be pretty comfortable there, right? And I'll be very honest, if you look at the maps that Asterion have played, this lineup's played. Mind you, for those of you just tuning in, probably don't know who these guys are. They are a Dutch team. They're a full Dutch lineup, but unfortunately, I mean, rather, I'd say fortunately, they have 2 UK British players playing in. They won the battle. Fortunately,
excuse me, British CS, come on.
All right, okay, UK CS in the house, that's great. They did win the Benelux qualifiers, but then again with the caveat that they didn't really have to face off against any great competition. ForZe on the other hand, we have these guys, Face Crack, Al-Nazar, Flit, Z-Power, and Jerry. I love Jerry, by the way. They are, you know, they're a very interesting team when it comes to, if you look at their matchups they have on HLTV and whatnot, it's usually against CIS teams, right? But when they play against teams who are of a higher caliber, so to speak, they seem to raise the level overall.
I do want to just point out that Flit and Jerry have been swapped around at the moment. Jerry's in the in-game leader position and naturally is sat in the middle of the team, which is something we do expect when we see these teams play. So if you're slightly confused, that will be sorted out once we get into the game. But Jerry loves to prep. He loves to prep with his coach Little, but they can't prep for this Potter. They don't know Asterion, especially as we've only seen this lineup play in the qualifiers for this tournament.
Exactly, and as we kept mentioning, Thomas and Luzza coming in and being those ringers on this lineup and really kind of helping carry them through that Benelux qualifier. It's certainly not a lot of data on HLTV. There's not a lot of studying that they could have done, but there's not a lot of studying that ForZe have to do. I think ForZe is one of those teams that really play to their own game, play to their own strengths, and they don't care who they face. So I don't think they would have put too much focus or too much stock into their prepping specifically for Asterion coming into this matchup.
I do agree. Like, if you're going to be putting in your homework, you want to put in your homework to eventually face off against Avangard or maybe Dream Eaters or, for that matter, Heroic, right? So I think they're just going to be coming in and, yeah, to sound like a broken recorder, I think they're just going to be playing their A game, basically.
Is there a slight risk, though, with ForZe that XD Power is going to be like, well, of course we're going to beat this team, so I'm just going to go and all kill them myself single-handedly, leaves his team behind, and then gets taken down and loses any advantage that they get from his opening fuels?
It's certainly going to be sloppy at times, and there's certainly going to be scrappy rounds, and that's what ForZe kind of like. That's what they expect, and that's where their strengths are, is coming out on top of those chaotic rounds, those chaotic moments, and it's really going to be up to Asterion to be able to match that level, to match that. And as I mentioned, Thomas and Luzza, the 2 ringers coming in for Asterion's side, they really helped carry Asterion through those qualifiers, and Thomas is known for his aggression as well, and I think he's going to be able to match that of ForZe's.
Yeah, if you look at Thomas, he is, I think, the one player who can talk a little bit more about it in detail. He did play the EU minor with No Chance, and Michael Lele, Stico, and all these guys, so he has that experience playing against some of the best in Europe right now, and he is going to be, it's funny that he is a stand-in, but I think he is going to be the main factor if Asterion do manage to pull off the upset, which is still very unlikely.
For sure, and he is definitely going to be the player to watch for me as well, coming out of that FPL, coming out and being able to rise and really showcase your skill in FPL. It is challenging being by your lonesome and trying to be cohesive with players that you don't normally practice with, and Thomas is one of those players that's going to be able to dance around in those situations and come out on top more often than not.
It's interesting to me though, because Thomas is going to be co-in-game leading with Bernard. And he's not been able to practice much with him in the past couple of weeks because he's had his priority, which is his own team, Phoenix. So he's literally going to be sharing this role. I said to the 2 of them, are you splitting it up between mid-round and the start of the round? And they were like, no, we're just going to sort of see what happens in game, and they'll just kind of come to each round as they come to it, I guess. And that's really curious to me.
It's going to be a very puggish approach coming in from Asterion, and we can't really be surprised about that, right? But if it comes down to ForZe, here's a problem with ForZe. When they play against a better team, a much better team, they seem to elevate their level of play altogether. But when they play against some of the more unknown teams, some of their like CIS teams, for example, it's it's a very scrappy affair. So we might actually see a very puggish game coming out, very frag heavy, fun to watch, but not necessarily clean Counter-Strike, so to speak.
So we're just going to see a lot of Demolition Derby up banana, Potter?
We should be. I mean, as Blair mentioned, that derby, the scrappiness of these teams, ForZe, they love that. That's exactly what they want. And you're right, I do believe that they elevate their gameplay when they're playing opponents that they've been looking up to for quite some time. So this should be a little bit like those national derbies of CIS teams coming in. These players are just used to each other. They know the shenanigans that these teams are about to pull out.
Well, we're ready to get predictions from ourselves, but also from Twitch chat as well. We do want to see how you guys are voting, so we're going to bring up the voting instructions very shortly on the screen. I feel like with you guys that, again, it's a pretty obvious one. I mean, it's an opening match. We've got our top seed versus our bottom seed of Group B. So, Potter, what are you saying?
I'm going to go with ForZe. I think ForZe should be able to come out on top of this. They love the chaotic moments, but I think this matchup should be a lot closer than our first opening match.
Yeah, I agree. I think we should be seeing Asterion winning a few rounds just based off how scrappy the game can be. And these players, like at least Thomas and Loza, they can definitely frag. And I think they do have the chops to at least hold their own against a couple of these players from ForZe. But yeah, I think ForZe is going to win it pretty convincingly as well. But I don't think it's going to be 16-2.
I want some scoreline predictions then, because I am also saying ForZe. I've got to say my boys from Russia, but what are we thinking in terms of scorelines? Are we thinking double digits, Blair?
No, 16-7. Yeah.
16-9.
16-9. Now, I'm just wondering, I need to ask my producer. Producer Adam, did we get a Twitch chat prediction? Here we go. Here we go.
All right.
Okay. Oh!
I love Twitch chat.
You're just making me a happy woman right now, Twitch chat. Actually, I think I might have to come into chat and chat to you during this next match because I want to hear your thoughts. I want to see your feelings. Maybe there's quite a few British fans in the chat that I need to say hello to. I do want to say, like, British CS, these two boys, they have paid their dues. It's the thing in British CS that you have to play for Team Endpoint. This has been for the last few years, and both these boys have done their time. Thomas now playing on the European side of things, no chance, and of course Phoenix as well. So I'm definitely interested to see how he does in the server, because at the moment we've got Alex doing pretty blooming well in Vitality, so I feel like British CS is on the up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it must feel really good, right? They're at least doing better than Asian CS, so that's a plus.
It's
Yeah.
All right.
So basically, Blair's getting emotional, and so my producer has just told me that we're going to need to go to a quick break because apparently Blair's tears and distress thinking about Tyloo. Sorry, I shouldn't have said Tyloo. Just cover your ears, Blair. Basically, we got a broken PC. It broke because it heard that Blair was feeling bad. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
watching, standing in the line. By the by, we'll get through this. Side by side, we'll walk through this together. And I believe in a summer sky and the waves on a restless ocean. Above the wing of a burning flag with a heart full of true devotion.
Welcome back, folks, and thank you for your patience. Little stage issues sorted, dealt with, done. Now the second map of DreamHack Rotterdam's coming at you, and we've got the home team, Asterion, who seems like the desk. Kind of believe in them creating an upset more so than Besiktas just earlier.
But first, Connor, you took off your glasses. Can you still see?
I can still see, not as good.
Not
obviously,
as good.
that's the point of glasses.
Okay,
but
yeah.
you know, sometimes headphones, glasses.
Could you still see someone peeking out of pit down long on Dust 2?
I can play computer games with no glasses.
Okay.
I just get real close. I pull the Zantares.
Yeah.
You know, I stick my nose to the monitor.
You got to put sunscreen
Smell
on
the
your nose
pixels.
just so you don't get too tanned?
Yeah, exactly.
Right, okay.
Get that blue screen gamer tinge going down. But here we have it, folks. All right, ForZe versus Asterion. This is an exciting matchup because our last event together was Blast Moscow, and I repeat that because it was the ForZe versus Avant-Garde Grand Finals that made things so exciting there in Moscow. And now, me personally, coming into this Open, I think there's a lot of potential for the CIS teams to give us good showings. You know, with Hard Legion, X-Dream Eaters, ForZe, and Avant-Garde, there's some great chances for them. But this one, curious. Another unknown quantity in Asterion. I hope their families are present. I hope the fans of Dutch CS are out there in droves, because this is a first, and that's what makes it so exciting. But Thomas, who's supposed to be the big star stand-in, he's dead early. Down. And Almazer up close towards Banana. Ooh, gets a chance at a flick. There's a second, and a great flash means these guys are so blind, it's over. Flawless pistol, not a tidbit of damage versus ForZe.
Yeah, well done, well done. Solid hold overall. So I did some Googling.
Oh, whoa.
I wanted to create some lore around Asterion. So I was like,
Okay.
What is in Asterion?
And?
Do you have any guesses?
Something to do with a bull by the looks of it.
A bull? It has, well, there's one definition. The anatomical definition is the point, the cranial point behind the ear that is exposed where 3 fractions of your skull are connected.
Yeah.
You can find that's an Asterion.
Nice.
Then there is the 5 Asterions in Greek mythology. And then there is the Lamborghini Asterion.
Oh.
So it's still up in the air. I have more research to do. I'm not sure which one they went with.
Write a dissertation.
Yeah.
Present your findings. And present us with some sick deagle shots. Let's go. We've got 5 deags in the follow-up round, but oh boy, those grenades. Meaty. A little peek from Nino at the top of middle. He's been seen. Bernard, a very classy name, playing from Boiler. He's the first to fall here in round 2. Nino repositions, and now the big question will be this burst, this surprise attack through the smoke. But as the smoke fades, legs are seen, and it's only a single casualty. Exapower hits the dirt, and a 3K for Flit on the anti-eco.
Nice off angle there at mid as the smoke comes up. It's you are the one who is surprised, who has the deagle. And they just spent a lot of money there. I mean, it's, $2,100 between the 3 of them who had deagles. I don't know if the other 2 did as well. But you won't really have enough money to spend that much on deagles unless you're going to guarantee a kill. We do see that bleed over into this round a little bit. Nobody's got grenades, really, besides the one Molotov that has left the hands of Bernard and a smoke on Luza.
Isn't that wild? You know, that $700 difference, just remember that for a second. That is smoke double flash.
Smoke double flash.
That is smoke double flash on 3 more players.
Burn it into your brains.
Instead, Luza will have the only smoke. And Bernard, the only flash.
Look at that. He's got the 2014 LGB Holo on his thing. Was he an early adopter? Those things are expensive. I've run through almost 20 of those stickers. I still have a few on my vanilla weapons in CS.
I've got a hollow Hellraisers.
That's pretty solid too.
I'm just saying.
Weird flex, but okay.
I'll trade it for an Asterion. Smoke over towards Arch. The single smoke. Again, singular smoke over towards Arch, about to burn itself out. AWP floating within the bomb site has support on both Arch and Pit. Deep banana control coming from ForZe. And now there are no smokes for either side. ForZe blocking off the depths of banana at the 40-second mark. And contact about to be made. Flit's been seen, and he shuffles his feet somewhat back. Z-Power rounds the corner, and this op man, oh baby, can it be deadly, but he's only gonna have to get himself one. Flit comes back in, second hit helps out. Now the pinch trying to come around this A site. Bomb's been picked back up, but 20 seconds. The clock is their biggest opponent. That's a huge opening from NextFox and Thomas at what looks like the final chance. Z-Power closed, no scope. Thomas into the 1 versus 3. He's got 2 kills already, and he goes ahead and plants that bomb. Now he's got himself the AWP, but a wide swing exposes him. And good job there by Almazer, joining Flit, rounding the corner at the same time, and just toppling that op.
There's not a lot of good options when you don't have grenades.
No.
I think one of the least attractive options, though, is to go for the Arch Wrap. You don't have a library smoke, and you don't have a CT smoke, and you don't know if there's an op present, which there was, which makes that one of the least attractive options, I think, when you're low on grenades. They could have maybe gone B, where you can get in with just a single flash, potentially kill the guy in CT if you're lucky. But in that round, you see how the economy they borrowed from the second round, where they spent all those money on deagles, came into play and kind of ruined it for them. And even in the late situation there, they got some kills, but they still couldn't find grenades that would have helped them take that into that 2v1 situation, into that 3v1 situation. And that just comes down to how much money they have. So now Asterion are just going to be on pistols on somewhat of a half buy, trying not to spend quite as much this time around. Nazer will fall back, play safe. They are doing a good job of playing safely. That is ForZe. Even in that previous round, they starved them out. Didn't give them early openings at choke points, and instead played sites.
One of the more exciting aspects of this round is that there's more utility for Asterion here than in their gun round just previously. So I'm excited to see if they do have those smokes, if they do have those layers to their executions, but this half eco is just cut to pieces. T's get around their own smoke. They come into the bomb site, of which had 3 players from ForZe, and now 4 rounds to ForZe as well.
Yeah, I'll say this is a much more official rifle round, because you can have good guns, but if you don't have grenades on Inferno, I mean, you're so low on options. Luzza is going to have an op. He's not going to have any nades to pair with that, but that's not a terrible problem. They've got a lot of grenades left to spare on 4 other players. Z-Power is going out for the early op duel, and he's going to get very aggressive right in front of that Molotov. Smoke to help him fall back. A couple of grenades go crisscross and don't hit their target. NextFox only takes a bit of damage. The T's are left with banana control at the cost of some health from Luzza, but he is the least valuable target to do a lot of damage to. And with this op, is still a very big threat.
Yeah. Bottles back and forth. Looks like ForZe are really trying to play that utility in order to pick up their first kill, wanting to finish Luzza off, but that op shot from Z-Power somehow peeled Thomas out of the round. Nino looking for heads here on this A site, and he's caught as well by the op. Bernard's gonna have to fall out of the apartments. I mean, this is it, the classic. You fall back into a 3 versus 5 on Inferno. You've got dwindling bits of utility left over, so you just try to fixate on one bomb site, and B is the name of the game. Luzza, contact op. A flash goes past. Incendiary follows suit, and Jerry just tucks himself into the coffins. Almazer's crouching above second oranges, and he's not been seen, ready for Luzza as he careens around the corner. But there it is again, 2 quick entries. Costs them a lot of HP. Reminiscent of the last gun round, where Asterion, just at the end of it, gets some sort of foothold in this round. But now what? They fall into the back of the bomb site. They've got some flashes to try and burn off a bit more time. There is a smoke if needed to put out fire. Frag grenades as well that could just blow both players out of the corners, but the first one misses. NextFox hits that headshot, and a second kill nearly his, but no. Two CTs survive as ForZe take 5.
And they were quite low, so it's okay. You know, you lose that round. You get the bomb down, which is huge. You get the double entry on B, which is huge as well. But it is 5-0. So Asterion will have to go back to the drawing board. Overall, a great start to the round every single time from ForZe. It comes close at the end, but the opening kills are huge for them. And the fact that they're closing the rounds out afterwards, you would say is just is what you would expect. You would hope that this would happen. So that's a pretty good result. Z-Power makes a great rotation when he gets his first opening op duel on logs, picks that player off, makes his way all the way back to A with no hesitation, and then gets another kill because the player who's pushed the end of halls thinks he can peek around the A site and look for a kill that he just heard the op.
Yeah.
So being hasty on those rotations is huge.
Right, he sees somebody floating around library, and he's more than happy to take that duel with a scope.
Wow.
Now Flit, yeah, no patience needed. He's gonna find himself behind this B execute, and even on the front line, there is some success. But it's all traded back. We find ourselves into the 3v3, low HP for both sides of the coin, and a bomb plant is gonna help out Asterion. Another post-plant situation they find themselves in. The last two both ended in defuse. Can this one be the hold? Thomas ready, and there you have it. Or actually, next Fox, excuse me. Camera switched. What's important is there's another smoke down. Buying that time. ForZe could try to hammer their way through, but may not be needed. Asterion have done it. Another mid-round situation where I feel like Flit's flank could have been so huge had he gotten multiple kills. But Asterion were already putting their foot onto the pedal. They were already charging into the bomb site where they successfully traded. So nicely done. Here we go. We've got a game on our hands.
They had way too much information to lose. I think ForZe understood exactly what they needed to do to win there. They had bottom mid control, and that means the two players on B were especially ready for a B hit, yet those players did not get trades. And then Flit only got one when he could have been more patient as well. So there's too many options there, I think, to excuse ForZe from losing that round. But at least Asterion are showing up when it matters. And if they're not favored in each of these duels, it's even more impressive that they're getting the kills. So good for them that they were able to lock down those frags. I think more important than anything is at first you see that your players aren't nervous from the perspective of can we at least win our pure 1v1 trades, and it seems like they can do that. So we got a pause called here for Asterion as they talk about how do we follow that up? You know, how do we deal with the fact that even though we won, we have to think about how Flit was able to make his way down mid in the first 45 seconds and get behind us on Banana. We make sure that doesn't happen again, and if that is going to be another play, how do we get that kill nice and early?
Their 30 seconds comes to a close, and we are back into the action.
On the bright side here, Asterion have done a lot of damage where they shouldn't have in these past few rounds from ForZe. So if they win this round as well, it's probably going to be a save. That's huge. A lot on the line here for Asterion.
I feel like Z-Power knows he can flex this off throughout the map. Curious to see if Luzza can take him aback, spank him around a little. Face crack flashed into Boiler. That's where they'll find their opening. ForZe doing a good job of trying to dictate that opening duel over and over, whether it be that middle push, whether it be a scope down Banana, or in this case, a Boiler flash successful. But again, fighting on multiple fronts. Now face crack tested, and Bernard swings wide, falls to Flit, who falls back into the bomb site. 2 CTs still here. Luzza next Fox, they've got to get a move on. If not, they're soon going to be outnumbered, but they'll put the op to the high ground. And I like this. Very unexpected, perhaps.
Oh, baby. It's a little scary for him. Doesn't know how long he can hold something without getting peeked, and smoke doesn't land quite as high as he wants to, but he can still see over it, actually. That's perfect.
There you go. Now he's going to move past. Next Fox has to clear corners, though. There's still a player tucked into sight. Almazer sees him. Over the cusp of the smoke he goes. Luzza trying to cut off the rotator first. Drop die Jerry. 6-1. The moment after Asterion get their round, they are shut back out.
So here's a game where I really like the way ForZe is playing. I think the only thing that's bad is they're giving up trades where they shouldn't. But in terms of how they're positioning themselves when they're being aggressive and how they're taking opening duels, I think they're checking all the boxes. They're doing it safely, they're being smart, and they're just losing favorable trades. So there's a round that's worth a lot for Asterion. They would have earned themselves a save and got their economy back on their feet. They lose it, but I think ForZe have really earned their way into this 6-1 scoreline. To me, it looks like this every round has been justified. Asterion pretty lucky, I think, in the first place to get that first round. So now we're back on pistols, and we're up 5-4 already. Bernard out of the round, and they flash their way into B.
CZ good for a trade. Almazer awaits what he knows is coming, but ooh, a little bit of timing does help the T's to at least cross over. One man still sectioned off in Banana. Nino's going to try to charge down the AWP, and it's very helpful, of course, that this is an AWP, you know, pressured off of the position. And even the rotator coming over is a second AWP. So now that the M4s are within the mix, things should be easy sailing. Nino's lost his teammate. 2v4 still. Luzza's wrapped back around on Banana, not even trying to help these T's until now. He gets himself into the mix. They do crossfire on the pinch, but nothing more. Cleaned up by the CTs, another retake successful, 7-1 the score.
Also, ForZe are super good in that initial kill. They know when to play carefully. They've fallen back off the A site. That flash in a boiler in the last round from face crack.
Yeah.
They're finding good openings early on, but that means that for Asterion, if they keep their eyes peeled, there are chances to answer back, and they have been pretty good from a shooting perspective, from just like a point-and-click perspective when it comes to how calm they feel. So I think there's chances here. There's a lot of ways that within that first minute they can find a kill.
Yep.
They've just got to be more prepared. So it is a AWP piece, full nades for everybody. A very robust buy on both sides. And it looks like an early boost here on Banana. And is it the AWP that's boosted up? Or no, Z-Power. Yeah, Z-Power is... Okay, he's going to be playing the bait game.
Z-Power watches Boiler's secondary AWP on Banana. I feel like Z-Power is the one who would go peeking down Banana, in contrast to Almazer's AWP play, which was much more, coffin positions, and in this case, watching that initial peek. So, double AWP setup pans out to the 5v4 once more. Now we're going to get the utility barrage over here towards A. Molotov meant to force face crack out of the corner, and sure enough, he moves his feet. Bernard rounds it, hits the headshot. Flit now in with 2. Z-Power locks it down, a crossfire that cuts down Asterion yet again.
I think they feel the need to execute when they lose a kill, and they got squeezed into A. They went through a smoke. As we can see from the clock, there's still 40 seconds left. Maybe they could have waited a little bit longer, worked a little bit harder for map control. And I think that's a situation where if you don't really believe that you'll win the round, then you'll start making decisions like that, where you throw caution to the wind. You see a small opportunity that you feel like is a kill, you hunt it too hard, and then it costs you more than one player where you shouldn't. And I think that's one of the overarching themes for Asterion. They need to maybe slow it down a little bit, think harder about how they can gain map control, and then not be scared just because they lose a first kill.
Yeah, because without that smoke there, I mean, there's no way Flit's playing so close to them. He shouldn't be able to pick up such easy multi-kills.
Yeah, it's a sunk cost fallacy when you lose a kill and then you think, well, that's it. I've got to now double down to try to get this next kill, and even if I die, it's worth it. That's not always true. I think the odds change a bit, where now maybe you're willing to go for a 40% duel, but that doesn't mean you should just start going for a 30% duel, a 20% duel. It doesn't mean that 2 people should commit to that on both sides of the map. 4v5 is still very winnable.
Playing with a gap. Z-Power welcomes him in. Doesn't pull the trigger.
I feel like he stepped right over that gap.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if he saw 2 there.
He's
either just getting a lot of information or he can't see anything, and I can't tell which one it is.
They fall out regardless. They do not hunker down. Looks like B is where they'll head.
I feel like ForZe have done such a great job of intimidating them at this point. They've gotten opt at every step of the way on Banana.
Yeah.
Last round was up at Car. This round, they're like, how are we going to die this time? And ForZe instead have they played all the way back. Make sure we don't die, and we delay for a long time, because now they're going to expel an unexcusable amount of utility just to get this much map control. They're down to just a Molotov and a smoke. They don't even have a flash to get past this op.
And there's a second smoke here still for Jerry, so he can put another one down on Banana. They're gonna have to run through smoke regardless. They decide to go just as it's fading. Almazer and Jerry doing a great job with the guns from the back of the site. 3 kills, one's flushed out. Jerry still looking to hold, but Next Fox brings it back again. Not the first time. He's been the key piece to taking back what looks like a flopped execution, but he's gonna have to not just do the beginning of the job, and he has to finish through and through. A 1v3 left over, 35 health for him to play. Z-Power is going to give away a shadow, so that could help him with a headshot, but if the other CTs combine this push, it's going to be real hard to 180. Now, a missed shot from Z-Power calls this out. He gets the first kill, but again, no trade, no chance, and a 9th for ForZe.
I think zero fakes is a big problem. I think not working for map control is a big problem. I think if they even, besides actually faking, just taking time to work top mid when they're thinking about going B, or work B when they're thinking about taking A, just for a few seconds, 10, 20 seconds, then that'll make it less predictable, because I feel like right now Asterion are extremely predictable. ForZe know that once they lose a player, they commit to the next site they hit every single time. And in this circumstance, it was B. And just because it's a different site doesn't really matter. Now, the one thing is for ForZe, after they get that first kill on Banana, they like almost always lose their next 2 players.
True.
So the duel's answering back for Asterion's big, and since Banana isn't that or B is not that complicated in total, they could probably still try to hit it if they feel comfortable once they get into pool and try to take those duels.
There you go. Finally, I feel like what has been this consistent apartments control from Asterion works out. They finally find a CT flirting around in there, but oh, they forget to watch Banana. You've got 5 players alive and nobody's watching for the Banana push.
No one's watching it, and it's past. There's more than a minute left. Oh, it's a really good point.
Rough sailing ahead, perhaps, but those Banana players do fall back. And now Asterion are left second guessing themselves. Did they go all the way? Are they still tucked away in wood? All knowing, of course, that as they have to go back and clear these corners, they could very well be walking into one of the 2 remaining oppers. Not the case. Jerry's here alone. He's got the utility, and a teammate now joins him. Z-Power ready for it. He's not going to play back by coffins. He's going to get in your face. Molly meant to cut them off, extinguished by the smoke. Next Fox rounds it into the opper, ready and waiting. Flash goes high, 2 Ts, still here, and a CT coming through spawn distracts them back. Face crack has to do it. He snuck himself into the smoke. Thomas could very well still win this round. No, face crack finds a gap in smoke and punishes Thomas for it. 10-1. And a commandeering CT side that just shows no sign of stopping.
Yeah, it's unrelenting. It's good. I like the thought process from Asterion to go back to B. Like, they're good at getting those trades. They once again get those 2 kills without a trade each. And that's smart on their side. Now for ForZe, they actually doubled down on Banana. They have the extra opper there. Z-Power spends a late round in B, and that helps them make sure that even if they lose those first 2 kills, they've still got another out. It's a very smart read. Very simple stuff from them. They haven't had much trouble at A, so they're kind of just thinking in patterns, which is smart. 5 on Banana. Almazer's going to throw his complimentary Molotov paired with an HE grenade. And Almazer will actually get flashed off. Jerry's not there to help in time. And now it's Jerry all by himself.
Scary Jerry lining up the bodies. Will remove Bernard. Luz's Molotov prevents the peek. I like that he watches smoke. Poor Thomas. Gets smacked by Flit. Fast blank up Banana. Luzza in the depths of the site. Smoke and a flash. And a deagle in hand. But Molotov means the end of his days. An 11th round added to the tally. And right now, ForZe are beating Asterion harder than Avantgarde took down Besiktas.
That's true. That's true.
You know, not quite. We thought that the second match was supposed to bring us into the a closer realm, but I think this is just a great play from ForZe so far.
Yeah, it looks like it's really good play from ForZe. I'd say Asterion will not make it as hard as they could be, and I think there's some simple things they could do to really just to at least give them a much better chance. Like if they threw a single easy fake in right now, even if it didn't work out, it would actually loosen up ForZe in the late rounds and all their future rounds, because they think about the option that maybe it's the other side. Here, they're not really being forced to. Another opening kill here for Z-Power. He's doing a great job of getting these op kills. This time it's mid. He's actually pushed. He pushed into ult. It's not the first time he's done that.
Man, just the ops in general, I feel like, are really problematic for Asterion. A second ult kill goes to Z-Power. I mean, these T's giving chase to the Opera that tried to fight them down Banana, and in the meantime, they lose the other side of the map. And I can't help but feel like Luzza has been very unsuccessful in counter-picking. You know, at this point, I'm almost thinking to myself, like, screw the op on T side. Stop trying to run it for the contact, because it's clearly not getting what it wants. Play your 5-man executions, play your rifles.
Yeah, that's fair. Op can get very expensive.
Yeah. I know one Chad Sponge Birchill who is not a big fan of the T-side op on Inferno, but there was a chance for it here, you know? Finally gets a one frag and then it's done for it.
Yeah, it's not an easy job. It's really hard.
Tough. It's really hard to get it feels like it's hard to get an advantageous op fight on the T side of Inferno.
And as we can see, for Z-Power on the CT side, the openings are just aplenty. They're everywhere. They're on B, they're on A, they're at mid. He's figuring out when he can be aggressive. And when he goes for that ult peek, he's exposing himself to bottom mid. And sometimes he's doing that alone because he's so confident they're not going to peek him. So it seems like he is absolutely omnipotent at this moment.
Double smack 10 in play. Try to pick up that pace, but the AWP in the apps. Jerry lines up 2 bodies. Takes down 2/3 of what was their Banana setup. Face crack happy to give chase here. The T's evacuate the apartments and do find some mid pressure, in fact. Z-Power is going to try to chase them, but they do slip through smoke. It's just unfortunate that the entirety of Banana has fallen to ForZe, and the fact that Bomb is down there. So, sure, Asterion get themselves into CT spawn, think they can go for the B-Wrap, but in fact, they've already been boxed in. Walking into a trap and falling to ForZe, 13-1.
Oh, it doesn't get much easier. And because of all those rounds where they did get the double entry in B, they get the bomb down, you think, all right, well, they need to close some of those out so that it opens up options to try other things in the future. But they still have not even done that. They've come so close, and they've almost won these 3v4 situations where you think they were going to lose, and they almost brought it back, but they don't close them out. And now we're moving into the last round. We've gotten 2 MAC-10s, Bernard and Nextfox, paired with a couple or a few SMGs, and at least they're SGs.
Oh, good dink from the MAC-10. Bernard looking for another, but listen, he got 1 kill from that fight. And he looks for a better weapon. He's got the Krieg and the wallbang. Sure, does damage Luzza, but so what? He gets his opening. He gets his pick, and he gets himself a very real chance at a second round for Asterion. 4v3. B is tempting, but by this point, ForZe have 2 bodies in it, and Jerry, instantaneous headshot. Molly meant to block off coffins. Thomas, very wary of the bomb site itself, but there is nobody there. Oh, and Flit up close, kicks in his teeth. Bernard with it all to do. Opened up the round with the MAC-10, and has got another. There we have it. 3 kills for him. He needs the 4K and the 1v2 clutch to get at least a second round.
Looks like he's going to go for the standard play. Z-Power, does he know that his opponent is dinked? He might not even want to drop a gun just for the sake of not making noise. He walks over Molotov in the process, and there it is, the fake comes in, but he can't pull it down enough. There's a chance there to make it a 13-2, but instead, ForZe close this out, 14-1.
A near blowout of a half, many defuses through and through, but a second half that comes up after the break. We'll see you guys there.
Her phone. I keep texting 911, but she ain't biting. I should have known. Maybe this time we're really done. I thought I could put one over on her. I thought I was way Said I got caught, I guess I shouldn't have lied. I shouldn't have, 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 I shouldn't have lied. Come on. Said I got caught, I guess I shouldn't have lied. I shouldn't have
15 rounds and 7 bomb plants, and yet only 1 successful win here for Asterion. Almost as one-sided as could be.
Almost, nearly. I mean, yeah, it could have been 15-0.
Yeah,
I guess
it's a
that was
classic
possible.
cliche, but I think it's safe to say this pistol is important.
This pistol's probably very important, yeah. More important than most pistols, I would say, for sure.
So poor old Luzza finds himself alone on B. 1v5.
This retake will be very important.
The rest of Asterion charging back over. They are going to have some kind of a banana control, and Luzza's good for the first headshot, but now they have that control of construction, or so they did. Thomas cuts down Jerry. He gets dinked back, 1 HP, and he will fall. Now they just have to deal with the banana flank. Flick goes back in for the fight. P2K headshot's good for the point, but next Fox gives chase. Round and round he'll go, trying to find himself into the clutch, but this shot's gonna cost him ForZe, fine 15.
Yeah, they do it. I mean, maybe a quick death is the best. Maybe a quick death is better for the confidence than a slow death. A
That's
slow
true.
burn.
Yeah, chop my head off,
Right.
get it done with.
Yeah, 3 seconds, out of consciousness, and that's it. You're gone. You're done. That might feel good. More time to talk. More time to think.
Yeah. What do you think about this? Double MP9, excuse me. Triple pistol and light utility
I don't have a problem with the MP9. I like the MP9.
for the 14-round comeback. Just for overtime. I think we find ourselves in a similar situation as we did at the end of the opening match, which is like, okay, this is a one-sided affair. You could argue ForZe are favorites for the finals. You could argue Avant-Garde are finalists as well. So what chance did Asterion and Besiktas have? Not nearly as much of a chance as compared to, say, the rest of the pack. So now my interest falls in that. We'll get another showing. They're not going home. They're just going down to the elimination BO3s. Entries closer towards the B site. Bernard bullied back off of his position. Thomas revealed from the corner, but good for 2. And a man advantage is something Asterion will play with.
Still going to be quite difficult. There's 2 smokes at least. So they could potentially separate Almazer from his bomb site. That'd be cool. Z-Power, he's got a Molotov. That's big. 7 seconds off the clock for that construction rotation. And he'll just forfeit the position to make it even more suspicious.
3 CTs walk in. That's an easy spray down from Extra Power. Done and dusted. 16-1. Even more so of a one-sided affair than our opening game when we didn't think it would happen. But this is reassuring to me, not for obviously the Asterion side, but more so ForZe. It means they are coming in a strong showing, strong form, the same way that Avant-Garde clearly are with their performance earlier today. It's just the fact that the favorite teams are coming in hot. I like that. You know, if this was a 16-14 shaky matchup back and forth, then we'd be able to give Asterion praise, and that would be a great story. But what's more important is the better team is showing clear performance, and I want that.
Yeah, and ForZe have been grinding a lot. So without playing many LANs, you know, they've just been playing a lot of games online, and I think they came here and they want to make sure that they're showing their best self. And I think they probably favor themselves, but it's good to see that they're playing really smart CS, even though I'm sure they feel like they'd win no matter what.
Absolutely. So with that, we will throw the reins back to the queen, the always lovely and sometimes ferocious Frankie Ward.
My microphone is on my head, so the always ferocious and sometimes a little bit dim-witted Frankie Ward. Thank you so much, Saunderson Scrawny. Let's just talk though. How good was that CT side from ForZe, Blair?
That was just really well played, right? Also helped out by the fact that Asterion seemed a little lost on the T side. How many times did they just get flanked either from Banana or players just pushing down mid and getting free kills? At Pistol Round, for example, they didn't do a sliver of damage onto Asterion in that first round. And I got to give credit to ForZe. Everyone is stepping up. Z-Power is having a great game. The way they were approaching that Banana control, they were just forcing Asterion to use all the utility, getting just destroyed time and time again. Yes, they did get control of the B bomb site a few times. They got the bomb down multiple times, in fact, but they weren't quite able to convert it, so a very one-sided affair. I'm really happy to see this. I think this might be ForZe coming in to get revenge from Blast Pro.
I like you mentioned that they were able to get those bomb plants down, and you're absolutely right. It was those post plants that there was some sort of confusion, definitely a disconnect between the players in that post plant. It could be the factor of the two ringers coming in, but it does bode well for Asterion side of things that they were actually able to get into those bomb sites and get the bomb down. They just weren't able to defend it.
I am curious about those ringers though. Thomas second on the leaderboard for Asterion, but definitely not overall because Nextfox, their top fragger, he got 9 kills, I believe. 9 kills, whereas XP made up for lost time. A bit of a slower start for him, but as soon as he gets his hand on the AWP, of course, there's no stopping him. But Flit, I want to highlight Flit because it's someone we don't really talk about that much, Blair.
Yeah,
but he was really impressing you there.
Absolutely. He was top fragging in the server for the longest time. He was looking really solid. And when you have, like, I think 12 kills and 3 deaths in 7 rounds or something, that is just the sort of confidence boost you need, right? Of course, Z-Power at the end, stealing the show away. 21 frags, 6 deaths for him. 2 players getting over 100 ADR. It was very one-sided indeed.
It definitely was, and I'm glad you mentioned Flit because he's kind of that third man on this lineup. He has those protocols in place. He understands exactly what he needs to do to capitalize off of Z-Power's contact and face crack the 2 forward players, and he does a fantastic job in that role.
I'm also curious, obviously, Asterion showing considerable bias towards that B site, as you say, taking a lot of damage on the way in, but getting those plants down, getting that cash they needed. But at the same time, really did the benefit of that outweigh the whole loss of all your utility, all of your weapons that you saved up?
I think that's the problem there, right? They did a very good job trying to get into the B bomb site, but by the time they reached there, they've suffered so many casualties and they're down to maybe a flashbang, maybe 1 smoke, and obviously the retakes are going to be way easier that way. I would really like them to attack that A bomb site a little bit more. I'm not saying they would have necessarily got more success there, but look, your B bomb site, the thing's not working out. You're getting the bomb down, but it's just not good enough. Maybe the A bomb site could have been potentially a solution, but they never pressurized it. They got very intimidated by Z-Power towards mid.
Is that just a lack of experience, Potter?
You know, I think it's more so on the side of ForZe's protocols. We kept mentioning the CT side looking so strong, and it starts off with that pistol even. We had Almazer at that half wall, no worries in his play. He's staring straight at that wall, full confidence in his teammates, and he understands exactly how that round is going to play out. And that's what we saw on their CT defensive side, is each player understood exactly where they needed to be at exactly the right time, and just bouncing the aggression off of each other and understanding exactly where the duels are going to happen. And we definitely saw that coming out of ForZe's side.
Well, we are waiting for the in-game leader, Jerry, to step up to the interview wall, because we do really want to talk to him. I say I really want to talk to him. Actually, Blair is desperate to talk to him. You love Jerry, don't you?
He's just fun, and I think we need more characters like him on the scene, right? You don't want to just coming in, yeah, we had a good game, the boys played well, it was like just us playing our game. I want a little bit more pizzazz, so to speak, and a little bit more style, and I think Jerry brings that to the table.
Well, Jerry is standing by right now, I believe. Let's see if we can get him on the line. Hello, Jerry, babe.
Yeah.
Lovely to see you. Now, I have to apologize because I chased you down before you went to the stage, and I went, so Jerry, how do you feel about facing a team that you can't prep for? And you said, fine. And it looked like it was more than fine, Jerry, to be quite honest. How do you feel?
I don't know, it was 16-1, so I don't know how that feel. I didn't play a game. Those guys, they were I don't know, they didn't play at all.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, we played default, and me as in game leader, I did nothing. I didn't call anything because everything worked. And when everything worked, what could I say more?
That's really well said. Jerry, I gotta ask, after Blast Pro Series Moscow, have you guys changed your approach to practice at all? Have you guys changed any philosophies or theory crafting and changing your strategies at all?
We tried to change some positions, but we thought we are a team that playing one or more year than And we thought like, okay, we're not gonna change the position, so we're gonna maybe add some strategy, and we tried to do that, and we actually got some surprises, but not much. Like we got something, but not much.
Okay, coming into this event, you are one of the bigger names, right, alongside Avantgarde and right now Heroic, the way they're playing. So, what are your expectations here? I'm assuming you're gonna be disappointed if you, at the very least, don't reach the finals, right? Is there any pressure which you guys potentially feeling?
I don't think we have a pressure, but we got a goal. We want to go to the final. It's really, it's our goal for this tournament, and I think that more main goal is that we want to show that we're capable to play like in the distance, like everyone said, like ForZe is a choke after we lost to the Simon in online, but shit happens, you know.
Yes.
So that's our goal. We want to show us everyone that we're capable to play. We're capable to beat Avantgarde probably. Yeah, we got some problems with that too, but I think we still got a chance, even with those problems.
Jerry, anyone underestimate you, send them to me. I'll have a word with them. One final question before you go. Just looking at your group and who is in it. Of course, we've just seen you beat Asterion. There's also Havu and Crazy. When you look at your opponents in this group, you must be thinking, okay, we're definitely through to Sunday already.
No. You're not able to think like that. Even when we played against Asterion, I told my guys like it's not going to be an easy game. It was an easy game, but you never should think that way. You should always respect your opponent. So I'm not underestimate Howard or Crazy. Even with Crazy, I have 2 new players, if I'm not mistaken. So you always have to respect your opponents. That's the main thing.
Thank you so much, Jerry. Well, you've got a best of 1 coming up late today, so go and chat to Little and your players, and we will see you very soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I see why you like him.
2 good takeaways. Shit happens. Yes, it does sometimes. I love that. And second, respect your opponents. And I think that's a trap many teams fall into when they face off against an Asterion, against a Besiktas. And that's the thing. You play it the right way, you're going to still win by default anyway, right? So why do you want to risk it, give them that tiny little bit of an opening to potentially pull off the upset? I love Jerry.
Yeah. Me too.
We're all Jerry fans.
We are all Jerry fans. Potter, you mentioned earlier the pistol round, and I believe you've got it for us on the drawing board.
I do. I actually wasn't able to pull it up on the drawing board, but we do have a highlight, and I just want to showcase Almazar's point of view in this pistol round. As I mentioned, he's forward in that half-wall position, and he's just staring at the wall. I'm sure he's super clenched right now, understanding and hearing all the enemies coming his way, but he understands he's got 2 players right behind him. One that's going to draw the contact right at that arch side, and one with the flashbang primed ready. And he's just waiting for this contact to happen, and you're going to see Almazar's movement, decision-making, and immediate reactions to this flash, and he gets rewarded so heavily for this. And this type of plays, it sounds like it's easy, the concept is really easy to get behind, but when you're in that Cerber and you hear the enemies running at you and you understand exactly where that contact is going to be, you see the rookie mistakes that sometimes happen to these players where they peak a little bit earlier. In this game, it's a game of split seconds, milliseconds, and Almazar performed here, and it was very easy for their side.
I just want to point out, even the comments there were so on point, because they knew immediately that like all 5 players towards Banana, and you can see the player pushing down mid and getting the flank in. If they didn't see all the players, they probably have still kept a player towards A, just waited for the lurk or whatnot. So very good comms, and I love, like you said, Potter, they stuck to the protocols and it worked out great for them.
It was beautiful movement on that part. The second pistol round, not quite so clean, but I believe that first round they didn't take any damage at all left.
Yeah, they did not take a single point of damage in the first pistol round. And the second pistol round, I just want to point out, I love what he did. 14-1, that means you have so much room to play around. Classic Russian strategy, rush B, and it was messy, but they won the round.
Hey, you know what? I think they would have rushed it either way. Even if that first half was 9-6, 8-7, a lot of a closer affair, I think they would have rushed it either way. That rush, it had a lot of moving pieces. It had the right utility to back them up. And as I said, ForZe is very aggressive. They know exactly what they're doing.
Well, after the break, we are going to be returning to Group A because we have got Hard Legion, another Russian team, versus the boys from Denmark, Heroic.